So after 3 intense days here at the DGNB Annual Congress 2026, we'll come to an end with our traditional wrap-up at the end of the day, where we'll look back on this first international day that we have here at this conference. And just to give you some figures about those 3 days that we had, so we have about 1,200 participants from almost 40 countries in those 3 days. We have more than 50 speakers virtually, and here on site in Stuttgart we have 20 hours of program, and on our open stage we have more than 30 member organizations presenting themselves. So we did quite a lot of work in those last 3 days, and thank you for everyone still here and joining us. When looking back on that day, Christine, Johannes, I asked you in the morning, what do you expect from these days? So are your expectations, have they been realized?
Absolutely. I was looking for inspiration, and I got inspiration. In this last session, that was great to see the real projects and what they do in these projects. Cool. Just cool. And now we have to really spread this information and this knowledge into the regions, into other projects. That's what we have to do.
Christina, we started today in the morning with you, and you moderated a session with three of our newest system partners from Bosnia-Herzegovina, from Croatia, and from the Ukraine. What did you take out of this session?
Well, I think maybe not so surprisingly, the challenges are very similar. Even in a country where you have war, they struggle with acquiring members because the members are questioning the business model, which happens as well still in Germany. It happens in Bosnia-Herzegovina, a lot in Croatia. I think we all agreed that communication is key to bring together people and like-minded people and really make sure you incorporate everyone. What was quite interesting, I think, especially learning back for Germany in our context, is the big difference on where Croatia is and where Bosnia-Herzegovina is, just because Croatia is in the EU and Bosnia-Herzegovina is not in the EU, where Bosnia-Herzegovina is struggling really to keep up with legislation, to push for more ambitious legislation, because we know here and in many European countries, it's like there's something new from the Commission. Everyone is like, oh, it's so hard. But talking to Sanela from Bosnian, she has a completely different perspective. And I think that was great to learn from each other, to understand somehow we all have the same challenges, maybe on different levels. But in the end, what kind of the core idea is really communication, bringing together people and to really push forward.
So right after that, we had a session which, each and every session in these 3 days, we recorded, and so you can watch it on YouTube after the Congress. We have a session where we have 3 focus topics, each of one curated by one of our other system partners. The first one was from Spain. You moderated the one. It was focused on Shift. What was the outcome there in this short session?
Well, the outcome is hopefully that we made everyone curious about Shift and get them excited to join the initiative, because it's our global common initiative to change the picture or the image of modern architecture and to incorporate learning from each other, especially from the Global South in a different way. So we saw 3 elements where the Spanish Green Building Council is already taking the idea of Shift and doing policy work on how can you incorporate passive comfort standards into the Spanish regulation. Then we had from Bastian, from the Technical University of Munich, an insight on where they are with the different universities to spread the message and to learn from each other. And in the end, we had from an architect who's working in Ghana, I think a very beautiful example on building a building really for people at the site in that cultural and climate context. So I hope it was inspiring for everyone.
We've put here once again the 3 dates that we have in June and July. So if anyone being curious about Shift, you can meet us in Wiesbaden and Hamburg, so in Germany, and also you'll be in India in June. So if you're interested there, of course, you can also get in contact on a digital way. Then it wasn't hosted by you, but I'll ask you because Anna can join us now. We'll have a short session about our new award, Social Positive, where we also have Isabella Aurich from the Swiss Sustainable Building Council and Martin Haas from our board of directors there. What's the focus on this Social Positive Award of the DGNB?
Yeah, I mean, we developed that, and together with our partners, which I find very important as well in Germany, but as well international, like the Swiss Green Building Council was part of it, the Austrian, the Spanish, and the Danish one. And the idea behind it is that we need to emphasize the social quality of our built environment, and that we can only do that once we see a building really being used, like Martin Haas phrased it, like a good building is one people love to use for many, many years, and then they take care of the building. And that is the idea behind the Social Positive Award, to really put a spotlight on that, but as well emphasize that social quality. And I think what was interesting or good, it's not a theoretical model. We already tested it last week on 2 projects. One is a production facility, one is an educational center from a large German company. And I think on paper, you would have not imagined how it is then if you're there, where you can really see people interacting, where people from the manufacturing meet people who work in the office space, how everything is incorporated in a very integrated way. So I think it's a very important topic. I think the systematic works, and actually we now already have like the next project asking to join the pilot. So we're hoping for many more, and especially as well outside of Germany.
At the end of the morning, we focused on Europe. So we had first of it a speech from a colleague from the ÖGNI, the Austrian Sustainable Building Council, where she introduced into how they use the ESG verification on the EU taxonomy. And Seema, then you moderated a session that we had together with our European organization, the Climate Positive Europe Alliance. What was the outcome of your session?
Yeah, we actually started with a really interesting presentation by Julie Emmerich from World Green Building Council. She gave us a little bit of a global perspective on taxonomies in general. What I was really interested to learn is that while Europe was the first what do you call it? Nation to introduce a taxonomy. The ASEAN also have introduced a taxonomy, but they've already updated it in three times since the first introduction, and we're still working with the first version. So that was quite interesting. And now the Sustainable Platform is in its third round of advisory board, and they are working now on addressing the structural difficulties we have in the taxonomy. So they are going to be updating the delegated acts hopefully soon. And we also had a really interesting impulse by a consultant who's working both in Austria and in Germany as well, and he highlighted the difficulties actually there are in implementing the taxonomy, because you would think that the European taxonomy was constructed in a way for European member countries, but European investors also work outside the EU or in European countries where there is not a Green Building Council present, and consultants really rely on the GBC's authority to fill those loopholes of interpretation, because a lot of investors are fearful of using the European taxonomy, because on one side it is mandatory to use, but on the other side it's a binary system, so either you are taxonomy compliant or you're not, and the fear of misstepping in those interpretational loopholes is quite big. So he highlighted actually where the GBCs are coming in to fill those loopholes in the interpretation. And what we then introduced as well for the first time actually was what we're working on in CPEA. On one hand, we have our annual event coming up, so for whoever is in Brussels on 9th April, that might be interesting for you to join and to get an insight on what we're working on a Brussels level. But what we are also presented today is a taxonomy partnership program, where we're basically trying to bring together the green building councils who are filling those gaps for interpretational loopholes of the EU taxonomy by harmonizing the verification procedures and also building a bigger network of green building councils who offer those verification services, so that it's that there is a little bit more professionality in it, and also to give investors and banks who look for taxonomy verification in Europe that third-party verification they're seeking.
I haven't been there in the last year at the CPEA annual event, but in the years before now, it's just what you mentioned before at those CPEA events. It's not about talking about policy and so on, but it's about learning from each other and bringing those different perspectives together and learning from each other. So it's a really, it's an invitation that we really cordially give to you to join us there. In the afternoon, Johannes, we started with you, and there was a session focused on the DGNB system, also in comparison with other certification systems. What was the focus or the main outcome of your first session after lunch? You need to have the mic. Oh, you have it.
Already have one. Yeah, I think the first question was, how do certification instruments help in transformation, and that means we have to check these tools, the certification instruments, if they are useful or not, or how far they are useful. And there's a great study from Bureau Happold about a comparison regarding the different transformation directions or aspects and how good the existing certification tools like the DGNB we have today, the LEED version 4, and then the BREEAM, I don't know the version, 6 I think, are fulfilling this, and if they are already meeting the requirements, the future requirements, and but also looking to the future versions like the DGNB Zukunftssystem, Zukunftsprojekt, or the LEED version 5, and then the next BREEAM version. And what is interesting to see that some of the aspects are not really included in the systems, and if they are important for the business case and for transformation, then it's a clear picture. And then we were looking in a second part of the discussion into different markets. The Austrian market was clearly uptaking the taxonomy aspects, and is very happy about having now the building in use scheme, the new one, with a full taxonomy integrated. It's not an add-on to the system. It's fully integrated into the process, and it's a management tool for the building in use. And so they are looking forward to really get a push from this in the Austrian market. In Slovenia, we see a different perspective. The Slovenian government is using GPP, the Green Public Procurement, as an instrument to push sustainability in the real estate market, and DGNB is really good positioned and listed there as one of the tools, but in reality, in the market, it's a key tool to provide the information for the government and to get subsidies there. The biggest market worldwide is clearly the Chinese market, and we had Rolf Demmler from SoftGrid and partner DGNB partner in China with us in the session. And if you look for the numbers, you see that it's a huge market, and he explained a little bit how the role of certification in this market, that it's more it's turning from marketing to compliance, and now we are positioned to do the next step, because sustainability or certification as compliance is not good enough. We have to improve the projects, and we have to do that in the process. And There we are well positioned, and he explained quite well how that works with partner organizations in the different regions in China, and how this is now starting to really grow fast in the different in the different regions. And he showed, or he told us about pilot projects which will be very visible in the next, this year, not the next years already.
We're looking forward to it. The best system or the best tools doesn't work if there are not people who are able to apply them. Therefore, we have the Academy. Maresa, you focused on the international aspect of knowledge transfer within the Academy. What was the outcome there?
Well, basically, I mean, not only in our session, it basically, if I'm listening to the other session, it's always about knowledge and enabling persons and making sure that they actually know how to do it. And we had a session and we outlined together with our partners, okay, on which different levels actually do we enable persons, do we qualify persons? And if you look at it, actually it goes from students that are learning about the basics of sustainable building and which topics are relevant, up to professionals. And then we had Egypt here with Dr. Yasmina Serhan. She showed what they are doing at the German University of Cairo and basically outline how research goes together with university and then actually this affects in the market. And she outlined, okay, this actually makes sense to bring all these aspects together. Then we had a look in Luxembourg, at the University of Luxembourg, where the past, actually almost 10 years, the students are also trained on the same thing. And we had a little bit a deeper insight into the different topics that are being taught there. So also, these topics are reflected in the several sessions that we had here. So going from the social aspects down to the energy aspects, from biodiversity to climate resilience, all these aspects are covered in the training material that our DGNB university partners are using. And also with us was Rolf Demle, who has been participating in the session before as well, our partner from China. And he outlined not only the work he's doing with the students, but also how he actually addresses professionals. And where he actually fostered was how to set the focus on in-house training, so enabling companies on a bigger scale, because he outlined how important it is that people exchange their knowledge afterwards and that they have colleagues who to address to. And I think that is actually, if I would wrap up now the session, I think this is one of the key elements, that it's not only about being trained once, but being trained consistently. Is it about getting the networks together and making sure exchange can be done? Is it about getting consistent update information to be up to date? What is happening? What is it about? I think these elements are important for lifelong learning. And then one other key takeaway I had is actually, if we want to get sustainable building becoming mainstream, actually we need all our partners. I'm so proud to see how active our partners are and how they drive sustainable building in their markets and also localize it. So taking that information that they have and translate it into the markets, I think this is like essential to get that, that big goal, the bylaws of our association in reality.
Partners are not only the official organizations partnering with us, it's also the builders, the auditors working on those different levels. Johannes, you already mentioned your last session earlier. What did we learn besides that Hilti is located in Liechtenstein and not in Luxembourg from this last session?
I mixed up the L's, yes. It was great to see the implementation of DGNB projects all over the world. So the implementation of this Hilti plant in India, it was really impressive to see. And it's a business case for Hilti. I mean, they are smart. Sustainable construction is a business case, and he showed numbers. They are reducing energy by more than 80%. They have 1 megawatt peak solar on their roof. They have a return of invest for these whole energy facilities between 4 and 5 years. excluding all the benefits they have with the other plants, and which are basically on the social side and the productivity side, where they have a way better production environment for the employees. Employees are really happy, and they can see it. They do not have numbers to compare since the facilities are very different, but in the end they clearly said it's a business case for them to build sustainable production facilities. And the second project from EFM, from the Black Forest, one of the hidden champions in sensor technologies, they built in Romania the second plant already, and they more or less do the same in Romania. And a great project, and so it was audited by Rumble this time. Now Attila Kovac is with CPEA, and for them it's clear where the direction where it goes to. And last but not least, the Hornbach case. So Hornbach, a retailer for construction product, they are building markets. In many countries. I think they have projects in 9 countries ongoing right now, and they're going for volume certification. And they say it makes a lot of sense to standardize, to have an international scheme to use, and then to bring efficiency into the certification, but also in the project. So it's both. It's again the better process in the project combined with better sustainability, higher sustainability scores, and in the end, the better process for all the projects. And they are happy with the also with the marketing side they get from this, and the discussion they have with the legal authorities.
So thanks a lot for all of you participating and who are interested to getting to know more about DGNB ongoing. I can only invite you to subscribe to our newsletter. We have an own international newsletter, so if you want to be up to date about events happening or new releases, studies that we have, please go there and subscribe to the newsletter. At the very end, it's not only about us moderating here and standing in front. Matthias, Levan, and Anna don't join us here, but they were the other moderators in those days. But of course, this is also the moment to thank to the big team in the back that made it happen that we have those 3 days. So from our team, it's just to name a few of them, it's Julia, Simone, Katrin, Marlene, Christina, Angelina, Johannes, Lea, Clip, my whole editorial team making it happen, that the videos were that were recorded were almost live going online, so you can look on that. And also our service providers here, the big team from Move Media, who were making the whole thing happen, and also Michael from Go Control, who is responsible for this digital platform where it ran quite smoothly, I guess, this time. And at the very end, thanks all of you for taking your time, joining us, and hopefully spreading the word that sustainable building and also the DGNB way to do so is something that's really needed and important, especially in those times where sustainable might not be the number one topic in some part of the markets. So be loud and stay with us. So thanks a lot and have a good day.